Welcome to the NorthOps Fire Weather Webcast for Saturday, October 5th, 2024. This morning's water vapor loop shows upper-level ridging strengthening over NorthOps as yesterday's upper-level trough moves away to the east across the northern Rockies. Visible satellite imagery shows sunny skies across NorthOps with the marine stratus layer pushed well offshore in areas north of Monterey. A few mid-level instability indicator clouds can be seen in southern portions of the area and are in the process of dissipating. 500 millibar forecast maps show the upper-level ridge continuing to strengthen across NorthOps today. The unseasonably warm and dry ridge will remain in place overhead tonight and Sunday, with a weak upper-level disturbance beginning to ride up over top the ridge Sunday afternoon and evening, then developing into weak troughing over NorthOps on Monday as the ridge begins to shift east into the Great Basin. Lightning flash density graphics from the European model show a slight chance of thunderstorms along and east of the northern Sierra Mountains Sunday afternoon, with other models also showing a slight chance in portions of the northeast, including the Mount Lassen conversion zone vicinity. Graphics for Monday afternoon show a somewhat bigger potential footprint, with isolated thunderstorms possible in the northeast and east. Wind and relative humidity forecast graphics for early this morning show that widespread poor to very poor relative humidity recoveries continued across much of NorthOps last night, with surface observation showing a number of stations with relative humidities in the single digits across portions of the mid-coast Mendocino early this morning. The light to locally breezy north-northwest to northeast winds which developed last night will diminish through the morning. Light northerly winds will continue in southern portions of the area this afternoon, with locally breezy westerly winds of 10 to 15 miles an hour developing in the northeast, but locally gusting up to 25 miles an hour along the Warner Mountains. Elsewhere, winds will remain light and terrain-driven, with widespread minimum relative humidities in the single digits, teens, and 20s across all but the north coast. Locally breezy north to northeast winds will return tonight, but remain confined to the typical channeled terrain areas, with poor to locally very poor overnight relative humidity recoveries continuing across slopes and ridges, and moderate to poor relative humidity recoveries elsewhere. A generally light and terrain-driven wind pattern will continue Sunday, with unusually low relative humidities persisting. Strong and gusty outflow winds are a potential hazard for many isolated thunderstorms that might form in the east or northeast during the afternoon. A similar pattern of continued poor relative humidity recoveries with locally breezy north-northwest to northeast winds through channeled terrain areas will repeat again Sunday night, with a slight increase in shallow onshore flow evident in the Greater Bay Area. Winds on Monday show an increase in northwest winds along portions of the Coast Range in the afternoon and evening, with a fairly light wind pattern continuing elsewhere, aside from the continued potential for strong outflow winds from isolated thunderstorms in the northeast and east. 500 millibar forecast graphics for Tuesday through Friday show the upper-level ridge persisting over the Great Basin through midweek, while troughing gradually develops along the coast. The trough will swing inland across the Pacific Northwest Thursday night or Friday, with ridging likely to rebuild again over NorthOps next weekend. Precipitation forecast graphics show dry conditions for Tuesday through Friday. Wind graphics show shallow onshore flow gradually increasing through the week and bringing breezier west-southwest to northwest coastal gap winds during the afternoons and evenings, and breezier southwest to west winds to the northeast and east. Relative humidities in western areas will gradually improve in response, but will remain on the lower side across inland areas through much of the week. The NorthOps Significant Fire Potential Outlook shows broad areas of moderate risk continuing for today through Monday due to heat wave conditions combined with very low relative humidities and critically flammable live and dead fuels. Moderate risk returns again in the northeast and east on Thursday and Friday as breezier southwest to west winds combined with continued low relative humidities develop. The SouthOps Outlook shows a mix of low and moderate risk conditions for the next 7 days. And now to sum up the NorthOps fire weather highlights. Upper-level ridging rebuilding today, persisting overhead Sunday, and slowly shifting eastward Monday will continue well above normal temperatures with unusually low relative humidities and poor to locally very poor nighttime recoveries through Monday, with gradual cooling Tuesday through Friday. Winds will generally remain on the lighter side into early next week, with localized overnight through morning north to northeast breezes shifting to terrain-driven northwest to southwest afternoon winds generally remaining confined to coastal gaps in eastern areas. Aside from some isolated thunderstorm chances in the east and northeast Sunday and Monday afternoons, dry conditions will continue for the next 7 days. Shallow onshore flow will begin developing Tuesday and gradually deepen through the week, bringing breezy afternoon and evening coastal gap winds with southwest to west winds favoring eastern areas.